Have you ever had a teacher get onto you for using the passive voice? Let me tell you a couple of problems with that, especially when it comes to writing history. Here's one I remember from school when I was a kid. Slaves were brought from Africa. The obvious problem with that sentence, slaves were brought from Africa, is that it omits who did the slave bringing. A way of using the active voice and telling a more accurate story would be to say, European slave traders brought slaves from Africa. This usage of the passive voice is what the writer George Orwell called a swindle and perversion of the English language in his famous essay, Politics in the English Language, from back in 1946. It's a way of trying to let historical actors off of the hook for their actions. An additional related grammatical change would be to say enslaved persons rather than slaves, although that's not exactly the passive voice. Now look, I'm just as guilty as the next person of using the passive voice by accident, but I always try to make sure whenever I notice it in my writing or my speech to try to correct it, because it's a sloppy way of communicating, because it's unspecific at best and actually intentionally misleading at worst.